Hey everybody, what's up and welcome back to the Starcraft 2 Own It Shack. It's David here, bringing you episode 16 of my Master League quest. And yeah, this is going to be a Terran vs Zerg here on the map Shattered Temple. My opponent is Ebbs. He is slightly favored, and do go ahead and check out my nice new Ghost portrait. That's for 250 wins in 1v1 as Terran. Pretty impressed with that myself, but yeah. Just so you know, this is back to the regular server. This is not the public test realm, which, for those of you who do not know what the public test realm is, it's basically a separate server where you can try out the new patch before it actually comes out. And it's available for anyone with a North America account that was purchased before February 22nd. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. But I did go back to this to get regular ladder games in, try and get my rank up a bit. And Terran vs Zerg, you know, it's a matchup I was a little bit scared of. It's actually becoming my worst matchup for some reason. Probably because of the new Infestor style. I still haven't really found a good way to just really dominate it. But this game, I was going to try for something else because I've been using mech a lot lately, as you probably know from my other episodes. Here I'm going to use Marine Tank, the more standard approach. And yeah, I just wanted to do that because it has a lot more mobility, so I can really abuse the relative immobility of Infestors when compared to the Muta Baneling play, and use that to just drop harass the Zerg until he taps out. So yeah, that's my plan here. Shattered Temple, of course, a great map for Terran if it's in close positions, but as we're going to see right here, sadly that is not the case. Nope, but one thing I do want to note here, as you can see, I see his Overlord on the minimap there, and that should let you know that he's at the other position, the cross position. Far positions by ground and air, so that's good. It's nice, fair locations, I'd say. Not too favorable for one race or the other, and should be a good long macro game as a result. So anyways, as you can see, everything's standard here. I did get my refinery on 14 supply instead of 13. It doesn't make a big difference with Marine Tank. For mech, yeah, I'd get it at 13 for sure, but Marine Tank, you don't need the gas as fast. Especially if you're going for an expansion with it, which is my plan. And I'll just be checking around there, and I see, alright, so it's an early expand. And what I like to do against early expands, as you're about to see, oh yeah, by the way, make sure you get that wall up at 16 supply if you're going to be playing against a Zerg, because you don't want them getting a free scout later. But anyways, what I do like to do with my SCV, that scouting, if they go for that early hatch, is to attack the hatchery. Believe it or not, this can actually whittle down a considerable number of HP for the late game. I've gotten it. I've done like 250 damage on those hatcheries sometimes with that first SCV if they don't react with a drone like my opponent's about to. And yeah, it can be pretty annoying, but yeah, that's just how it goes. And as you can see, he's stolen my gas. If I were going for mech here, I would have prevented that by putting down a geyser myself. In this case, I just don't give a crap. It's fine. I'm going for an early expand. Don't need that second gas anytime soon. He can steal it all he wants. So I'll be bringing that SCV home because his spawning pool should be finishing up soon. Gonna let him get some Zerglings, and now that this is finished, I'll just take that out. Notice I have put my factory up outside of the range of that extractor. You obviously don't want him scouting that for free, so yeah, that's pretty much my thought process there. And now the expand will be going up. This is a 1-1 expand build. It's almost identical to the one I'll use in Terran vs Terran sometimes. Should get a VOD out for you guys for that as well. By the way, I will be bringing a lot more VODs to you. I know a lot of you commented on the last video that you were not satisfied with my current rate of production. So I will be bringing more of these episodes. Should be good for me as well to really push me into the Master League. And yeah, so right now I'm just macroing up, getting that command center. The 1-1 expand, it's a great safe build that protects you from a lot of stuff in Terran vs Terran and in Terran vs Zerg. This is the first time I've actually tried it here though, so I'm kind of excited to see how it goes. Now that the factory's up, I will be getting that second gas. Your basic transition here is into a ton of barracks with one factory, and then you can add the starport on later. In retrospect, I think it might be better to add the starport earlier, just so you can start dropping a bit earlier. You don't want him to get too many drones. So that's probably what I would change here if I were to go back. So yeah, you're going to want to saturate that almost immediately. Keep pumping those Marines. That's what I'm doing here. And yeah, my main goal here is to push out around that 9-10 minute mark, I think. At least I think that's what my plan was. This is a pretty long game, so I'm not quite sure. But yeah, you can really punish them if they're transitioning straight to Infestors like that. They might not have enough. that might not have the pathogen glands yet for that early fungal growth immediately after spawning. So, you know, can work out pretty nicely for you if you do skip that starport. But as you're going to see here, things aren't always as they appear. So yeah, now this is a little interesting thing here. I'm not sure when I should be moving that CC out to the natural expansion, but one thing that I saw someone do in their stream, it was Avalo, one of my favorite Terran players, is he scans the second it researches, or sorry, the second the orbital finishes, and that's what I did right there. And as you can see, I scouted, alright, the lair is coming up now, and he's got double Evo, probably not going for mutas in that case. He's going to be going for infestors most likely, but you always want a couple turrets anyways, just because they can go for burrow. They can always switch into mutas after if you've gotten too greedy with getting no turrets and no static need to deal with them. And so that's something you're going to want to be careful with. Another thing, stim is of course your first priority when it comes to your infantry upgrades. That's absolutely essential. I should be getting that here sometime in the near future. I think I did have a late stim in this particular game, which is obviously not good. And as you can see, yeah, so I just made another siege tank there instead of getting stim. I would go back, cancel that siege tank and get stim instead. That's probably the better idea, in my opinion. And as you can see, I'm horribly supply blocked. This is something I really have to straighten out. It's just messing up my gameplay way too much. Look at this, it's pretty gross. As you can see, yeah, it's that's something I'm gonna have to fix. Because honestly, getting supply blocked, there's no dumber way to get behind in the game. And so I'll be getting that engineering bay at this point, which is a lot later than I'd normally get it versus Mutalist. And it's basically going to be for a couple turrets, as well as that +1 upgrade, because that is so important. Upgrades are everything in this game. They are everything. I beat a Protoss player the other day who had like tons of Colossi with all those, you know, all those beefy units underneath, and I still came out on top because I was way out upgrading him. It just shows you how good tier 1 units can be, because I beat him with Marine Marauding. So yeah, in this game I'm going to be applying that same concept. As you can see, the Eng Bay is now done. I really hope I'm going to be upgrading soon there. Yeah, please go ahead and hit the E button to upgrade that +1 attack. It should be going up anytime soon. My main timing here was going to be to hit him when that finished. Whether I actually did that or not, I'm not sure. I got kind of distracted. Like I said, this is the Marine tank style, so I'm not quite as familiar with this. With mech, I know my timing's a lot better. Definitely a lot better with that style in general, but this seems to be an overall better strategy, so it's essential that I practice this and get better here as well. And there goes the upgrade. So yeah, stim is on the way. Should be getting combat shield after that. And now the starport is coming as well. You're going to need 4 gas to support all this, and I throw it on another scan just to make sure, yeah, he's got a huge boatload of infestors just waiting there to fungal growth. And that immediately tells me, okay, I can't move out until I get medevacs. There's no way I can take that on with just Marine tank, especially without combat shields. Man, those infestors are going to be ripping my Marines otherwise. So yeah, another thing, oh yeah, very interesting. Something you should do, what you just saw there, I'm moving an SCV to scout his 3rd. I like that because you don't waste a scan, and sometimes you can just wildebeest past those Zerglings in the middle, as you can see here, and get a free scout off. It's essential that you know when he's making that 3rd, because at that point you need to push out and deny it. You can't let a Zerg player get the 3rd up like that. It's just bad news bears. You don't want to be in that situation. And yeah, that's exactly what I want to see right there, and so I'm pretty happy about that. But of course I have to be suspicious of that top left location. A lot easier to take now. It's no longer an island. So I should be dropping a scan up there in order to see sometime in this game. Now that the medevac is out, I will be dropping him. Be sure to skirt around the Zelnaga Watchtower. As you can see, that's what I'm doing right there. And now that my stim is complete, I believe, as well as the +1 upgrade well on its way, I should be pushing out in the near future here. I'm going to have medevacs coming. More of them, of course. And yeah, that should be pretty much it for this mid-game push. So, also, you're going to want to get a reactor on that starport eventually. I'm not sure when I should do that, though. It's a little bit unknown right now. As you can see, the combat shield and the +1 should finish around the exact same time, which is a really nice timing to hit. And I will be distracting with that drop so that I can easily siege up in here. And I'm going to be sniping the infestation pit. That is pretty important. Of course, a ton of Zerglings come in, but He's out of position now, so I can easily be greedy with my siege. Also going to drop a huge scan eventually to get rid of all these creep tumors, because I absolutely have to deny him vision. He cannot see when I'm unsieged, or this will go to hell in a handbasket really fast. Trust me, it can be pretty bad. Also, I think it's wise to keep those Marines behind my tanks, because otherwise he's going to be just fungaling them for free. You want to make sure he sacks an infestor to get off a fungal. Also, I've kept that medevac over there, and it will be getting a Ghost Academy to deal with the infestors, just for some EMPs and snipes. It's pretty good, something I've tested just lightly, you know. And also, continuing the harassment. This is the great thing, infestors don't have the mobility mutas have, so they really can't, they just can't deal with this as well, so you're free to roam the skies. As you can see, he can fungal all he wants, but he can't kill that medevac once I fly away. And I do manage to snipe the infestation pit, which was my entire goal with this drop, so I'm really happy at this point. I'm ready to push in a little bit harder, maybe press my advantage, and I'm getting another starport as well because I did see the hive. Just want to make sure that I'm ready if broodlords start coming out, that I can double pump Vikings from double reactor starports. Also, I'll be clearing out my gold base rocks simply because I need a third at this point, since I'm assuming right now that he does have one. I'm just going to drop a scan there, yeah, and so I see it just went up, and I'm going to be loading up a medevac to go deal with that. This is just the beauty of the marine tank build as opposed to the mech. You get so much freedom with these drops, it's really quite nice. And now that these are almost done, should be throwing up a base there as well. So now he's going to try and push out, and it looks like in this case he went for ultras instead of the infestors, which is, instead of the broodlords, which is an interesting choice. As you can see here, marine tank does do pretty well against ultralists without the baneling support, but when he fungal growths and uses the ultras, it can be pretty gross. As you can see, I don't know why he just pushed out there without the rest of his army, but yeah, it definitely cost him a lot, and it's going to allow me to throw up another base right now. So now I have double factory, double starport, and I'm going to be adding a bunch more barracks now. As you can see, my minerals are getting quite high, so that's going to be pretty huge. And I'll hotkey all those to 5 as usual. But as you can see, my siege tank count is getting a little low, so those double factories are going to be pretty important. And as you can see right there, I'm rallying my units right to the front of my base to prevent counterattacks. I don't want that kind of thing happening. And I'll be throwing up the double eBay now that my armory is done, getting more upgrades all the time, and I'm even probably going to get ghosts out soon here too. But of course, I did manage to get rid of that infestation pit, so that's pretty huge. And now that, you know, he has no infestors in place, I'm just going to go in here and wreak havoc on his drones. So that's what I'll do. Stimming up, going in, roasting a few drones, and once he comes in here, the best idea is probably to push forward with your tanks a bit. And I hope that's what I do, because that's definitely what you should do. And do I do that? I don't know. No, it doesn't look like I did that, so that's something you're going to want to do if you're going to try this strategy. I definitely should have taken advantage of that. This base is almost complete, so I should be getting a bunch of SCVs Maynarded over there, and planetary as always. Again, Zurich, always a planetary, no reason not to. But now with a bunch of siege tanks here, I've got a pretty nice contain on him. The only thing I'm lacking right now is some tech. Going to want to mix in Marauders versus Ultras, and focus the siege tanks on the Banes. In this case, the Banes focus themselves on the siege tanks, but so many Zerglings, I really can't deal with this kind of pressure right now. So I'm forced to just stim up and get the heck out of there. Do not waste those Marines. I don't want to do that. I can just pull back to where my reinforcements were rallied. As you can see, I even got some Marauders and a Ghost in there now to snipe infestors, land some EMPs. So I'm pretty decent right now. But, of course, my planetary is wide open right now. So I'm going to mass repair that beast. But, you know, 3 Ultralists, that's a ton of damage. I have to just get over there and deal with this myself. It's just so close to going down here that, like, oh man, it was just such a close fight. It does manage to go down now, and that is absolutely devastating. Losing that base is pretty huge. So what I'm going to do to counteract this, double expand. That way I can easily get back on my feet, and I'll be dropping him again, since, like I said, he's just out of position. More units being produced here. Should get those all with the rest of my army. And keep in mind, I still have those double reactor starports ready to deal with any broodlords that might pop. Of course, I still didn't even see a spire, so I don't think that's too likely, but always something you got to keep in mind. And now I have just a huge amount of barracks, as you can see. So that's pretty solid. Pretty good indeed. Always want to get tons of production facilities in the late game so you can easily reinforce a battle or remax your army. That's Zerg's major strength, and if you can match that as Terran, I think that you're always going to be in a good spot. So yeah, also continue with those upgrades. As you can see, I'm a little bit mineral blocked right now because he did take down that gold base, which is very good move by him. I will have to call down supply right there because I can't afford to spend the minerals on the depot. I do want to get that upgrade much more than a supply depot, obviously. So with the ghosts in there, as well as the marauders, I feel pretty good against the Ultralisk Infestor combination. Pretty good indeed. Also, I do like to hockey my ghost special hockey, just, you know, keep tabs on that. I think I'm getting Cloak there. Maybe I'm getting the Mobius Reactor. I think I already got that though. And I'm going to be pushing in a way that lets me to, that allows me to cover my 2 bases here. I want to make sure both of those get up because this is absolutely essential for me staying in this game. And yeah, I'll be adding more workers over there as well, as you can see. And some missile turrets, of course, in case he does do that Mutalisk switch. Got to be prepared for that. And some more refineries. I'm not gas blocked right now, but it's always possible in the near future. And there you can see, always keeping those tanks in front. And I should be stimming out units. Yeah, I'd like to stim out 1 unit like this, just to see what's going on. And this medevac's still hanging out, but I'll be bringing him back home just because, you know, there's only 3 Marines left. So I'll be sending a fresh one out, and this one is obviously to deal with that 3rd base that he has. And yeah, it's pretty important. And because I didn't get vision, I sieged up. You just can't risk it. Until I get vision with the Zelnaga Watchtower, I'm not going to be pressing forward with those tanks. And now I see, alright, he's nowhere near this, so I can easily push up and get closer to his base. I got to get my contain established once more, and he has just a ridiculous amount of Ultralisks, but my upgrades are really good right now. I think I'm at probably 2-2 or 3-2, something like that, or maybe 3-1. Oh, and I also have vehicle upgrades too, so everything's pretty good right now. And as a result, I'm going to be adding more barracks. And yeah, that's pretty much the game plan right now. So now is the time to push forward a bit more. Don't want to let him get too many ultras, and I really don't want to engage in the middle of the map like this. But of course, what happens? Exactly this, and I will be EMPing the infestors with the ghost, as you can see right there, and that's really important. Pull back with those marauders, let the siege tanks deal their damage, and he still manages to crush through this, but he really lost a ridiculous amount of units right there. And I still managed to save my medevacs, and with all those extra barracks, I can reproduce fast. And because he's so out of position, once again, I'm going to be dropping his 3rd base right there. And the mass repair this time is probably going to be a little bit more effective with the ghost there to deal sick damage versus those ultras. Just joking, obviously not. And I have this drop coming in too to hopefully deal some damage over here. Gonna try and snipe that hatchery if at all possible, but some Zerglings do pop out. And they're pretty decent versus Marines, as you can see. The ghost is alive, and I'll just be sniping that ultra. Goodbye. Because ultras are bad news bears for me. I don't want those around. It's a huge waste by him, actually. I think that was a little bit of a mistake on his part. He should have pulled that one back. And also a little mistake on my part. As you can see, all those SCVs are not mining right there at the gold base. I should be putting those guys back to work ASAPly, but for some reason I don't seem to be doing that. It's the late game, 26 minutes almost. Or is that 23? It's a little blurry on my screen. But anyways, yeah. It's pretty late right now. I do feel ahead, however. And that's probably just because he lost so many Ultralisks, whereas I have all these minerals banked. So, also, I do have the base advantage, I think, right now. I don't think he's taken the gold yet, which is good, of course. And I'll be taking another base, or actually no, I'm not going to take that base. I'm just going to make sure he hasn't taken it, because I'm getting a little sneaking suspicion right now that something is up, and I will be scouting that gold as well, just to make sure. Throwing down another scan, and I see, alright, this is a good time to move out, or at least it looks like it is, because he probably doesn't have enough infestors. I don't think he rebuilt that infestation pit after I killed it. People usually don't prepare for that kind of stress, so they're not really used to losing the infestation pit. They may not rebuild it. So that's always good. And my army's almost remaxed. I don't know where he stands in terms of maxing out, but I do know that I probably have the bigger army right now, and I also have the better composition. Those Marauders in there are going to deal really good damage against his Ultras, especially with such good upgrades. So now I think I see fit to move out. Going to be pushing up with the Ghost, of course. The Ghost is actually good for scouting too, because you can cloak him and move in. People don't usually have Overseers with their army like that. And so I do see, yeah, he's going to go for that third base, or maybe it's the fourth. Yeah, the fourth base. And that's going to allow me to just push up there. I see he's got Banelings and Ultralists now, so I have to be careful. We'll be taking another base as well. But yeah, going to be sieging back here once again, simply because I don't have vision with the Xel'Naga Watchtower. I need to make sure that he's not going to be moving out. And so I'll be keeping that medevac right there just to make sure. And sieging up, target the Banelings with the siege tanks. I just did that right there. And the MMM is going to just clean up everything else easily. The Infestors do a ton of damage right here, but the EMP completely misses. It doesn't matter though, I got a lot of medevacs, and now that I have a huge army advantage, I'm going to be pressing that by pushing in to his third base. The gold base, that is. Also, I have this macro CC right there for some extra muleage. Always a good plan. Going to be keeping on top of my supply by making more units. And now that I have this pretty much locked down, I think I'm going to load up some medevacs right now and go drop his third at the top left. Because obviously he probably doesn't have anything to deal with that. And it's just a good move altogether because you really want to deny all the bases you can while you have such a huge advantage. So there I go, I'll be loading up those guys and bringing them over there to drop. And moving in a bit for the kill here. Obviously my siege tank count is not very high, so I have to be wary of Banelings. But with 200 and a ton of resources banked, I feel like I got a pretty big stranglehold over this game. I want to be careful about that though. Obviously you don't need to lose those to spine crawlers when you can siege them up. And it will be quickly sniping this expansion. The Ultralists come out, but with a stim and some good micro, they are easily taken out, and I can push in here, hopefully for the win. And there he goes, he calls GG, Ebbs, and finally, for the first time ever, I've beaten someone who is slightly favored. Believe it or not, it's never happened, so there you go. And he's actually a pretty good Zerg. He was in the top diamond with the nice gold star on that little emblem right there. And yeah, he's rank 4, 204 wins, my goodness. That is actually quite insane for, you know, the new season. I've already played that many games, wow. Really committed. So I'm at 60 wins right now, I'm in the top 25, and I'm hopefully going to be making my way up to Master. Once again guys, thanks for watching, I really hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope to see you again for another Daily Dose of Own It.